Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're back to working over on the 10EE project. This has been a long-term project going on in the shop, and if you've been following along, you've seen us make some progress finally with the electronics on this. Just this past week, I had a gentleman come in, Andrew came in, electronics expert guru that kind of went through everything, put it on a scope, and really got my electronic controller that we built for this based off of some plans that a viewer helped me out with, John, up in Minneapolis. And anyway, we've got this thing tuned up and running really nice, finally. It's taken a while to get there, mainly because of my ignorance when it comes to electronics and just trying to work through multiple people to kind of help me get things out. When Andrew came in, he was able to get with John, and the two of them could talk the same language, and they got things worked out much faster and easier than me, who is mechanically inclined, and you know, I can do electrical work, but when it gets to the electronics and the electrical theory and all the stuff that goes on there, way over my head and just not my comfort zone, I guess you could say, not my area that I'm really comfortable working in. So we got that worked out, and I am happy to say this machine is running beautifully now. So the next step is we need to get it put back together where we can use it. Also, before we are totally 100% done with the electronics, we need to do some tests with it under a load. But before I can put it under a load, I got to get it put back together. So we're going to start that process of getting things put back together today. First thing I want to do is get the saddle and all this stuff up here, the apron, put back onto the machine. Before I can start reassembling things though, I need to do a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of painting. I actually already had the saddle and the apron cleaned up and painted, but I realized once I came over here, if you look, this color gray is lighter than this color gray. I grabbed the wrong can. I thought I had painted it a certain color, and once it was all back on the machine, the funny thing is that I put it back over here, and it was 2 or 3 days later, I looked over at the machine, I was working on something else. I'm like, hey, hang on a minute, those colors don't match. So I painted it the wrong color. But I also got some other things we need to get painted. So I'm gonna have to get this re-prepped for repainting. And I'm not gonna strip it off, but I'm gonna scuff it up where it'll at least take a hold on to the new coat of paint. I need to get some of these parts cleaned up. I've also got the panels and stuff that go on this. We've got those cleaned up and primed. I need to do a little bit of body filler work on those. We may get into some of that today. Probably won't start putting it back together because I know there's some bearings that I want to replace, and I need to figure out what bearings I need, how many I need, and if I'm lucky, they'll have them in stock here at our bearing supply place. If I'm not in luck, I'll have to order them. It'll take a couple of days for them to get here. Either way, probably won't get to reassembling today, but we're going to get as far along as we can. Let's get in here and get started on it. Fortunately, most of the stuff I've already got cleaned up and at least primed, if not already painted, but there's a few parts here that need to be cleaned up that haven't been done so. So to do this, I'm gonna just take this over to the wire wheel on the bench grinder. These are small enough I can just handle in my hand and get these cleaned out. There are some bearings in here. Again, I'm going to look at replacing those, but first step is to get it cleaned up. These are some rollers that go up underneath the front of the apron that basically keeps it from lifting up. And again, there's some bearings in here. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and replace those while we got it apart. But these parts need to be cleaned up, and a couple of handles that need to be touched up as well. So all right, let me get over and get work on that. This handle looks like it's already been cleaned up. It needs to be primed and painted though. All right, took these over to the wire wheel and got them cleaned up. Next thing I want to do is try to get these bearings taken off, and it looks like there's a little clip in here. See if I can. Yeah, let me go put this in the vise and see if I can get those out. And I got this in the vise now, so that's holding that a little bit better for me. Let me see if I can get something here to spread those, spread that clip apart. I'm going to take a pair of snap ring pliers that spread open when you twist them. Let's see if I can get those to open that up enough to get it off. There we go. Let's see what we can do here. This is the other side. This way this works is that that bearing is on a little cam, and you got this piece over here that kind of tightens it down, but when you spin this, it adjusts that bearing in and out so that it's just barely making contact with the bottom of the carriage on the lathe. I'm going to see if I can, this locks it in place, so you adjust that this side, and then this side just basically just screws right down on it. Bigger screwdriver. So as you turn, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this bearing is moving on a cam action. It's basically moving it up and down. This rides on the bottom of the ways on the lathe and keeps the saddle from coming up, so you would just adjust this up till it's just barely touching, and that takes any backlash out of everything. All right, that's got that bearing out. You can kind of see that this is turned kind of on a cam, so that's higher. This is low and that's high, so as you turn that, it's camming around. All right, that's one of them out. You can easily see the number. That's a Fafnir 39KDD, so should be able to find a suitable replacement for that. So there's a bearing down in the bottom of this. I've got it sitting up on a couple of 1, 2, 3 blocks, and I'm going to see if I can just drive it out the bottom. Yeah, it's going to come right out. There we go. Yeah, there's some numbers on this one as well. And SKF, it's like 1202. I'll have to get a magnifying glass out and look at it a little bit closer. There's also a bearing up underneath this one here is captured in between there. I believe it's going to be the same bearing as that one, but I need to get it out. I've got a couple of Dutch keys in here. Let me see if I can get those out and drive that one out as well. I've got my parts I want to paint. The saddle and the apron here had been previously painted. I did come in here and kind of just scuff these up a little bit with some 280 sandpaper. Here's the other parts we just cleaned up. There's another part back here that's just ready to paint. So I'm going to go ahead and hit these with a coat of the proper color paint and go ahead and get this knocked out. And I'm just using some Rust-Oleum. This is gloss dark gray that we are painting with here. And we'll just give it a nice little coat. Got everything that I don't want painted masked off with masking tape. I've got my panels here that go on the side of the lathe, some of them anyway. I got a few more of them that's not up here yet, but we've already cleaned them up, got them stripped down and a coat of primer on them, and they're in pretty good shape, but there's a few little places on them I'd like to put a little body filler on and see if we can't make it a little better. So I'm just gonna put me a little filler on the pallet here. Put a little hardener in here. Mix that up good. And let me get putting some on here. These actually are in pretty good shape. There was a few little places on them. See, I saw a couple of pits. Oh, it was on this one. I know we got some little rough edges here on around these corners. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. We'll come back and sand it down, but I don't think it's gonna take a whole bunch to do these. Like I said, they were in pretty good shape to begin with. Let this body filler harden up, and I'm just gonna take some sandpaper on an orbital sander here and start sanding it down. After applying the body filler and giving it a little sanding, I'm coming back over it now with a second coat of primer, and we'll let this primer dry and decide what we need to do. I see a couple of places already that just need a little more sanding now that I've kind of got them painted out where you can see what's going on. But so far I haven't seen anything that I think needs any more body filler, just a little more sanding. We'll look at it once it kind of gets dry here and make a decision whether we want to do another round of body filler or just go with it. So anyway, I'm going to get all these painted, let this primer dry, and assuming everything looks good, we'll come back and shoot it with a coat of paint. Got the apron here off the lathe. We've already got this painted. I'm going to go ahead and pull my masking tape off of some of the stuff here, and I want to do a couple of finishing details on this. Let's see, I've got my sight glass from my oil, and there's an oil filler up here that I took off that needs to go back on. So let me get this tape off first. Now this is the sight glass for the oil, and I had some new ones made. Tom Utley, the guy that does my makes the reproduction tags and stuff for my machines, he actually made up a batch of these new sight glasses, or at least the parts that go in them. So I've got, let's see here. All right, so that's the, whoops, I wasn't ready for it to go in there yet. So that's the first thing we need to do is put the new gasket. There's two gaskets, one on the front, one on the back. Put that gasket in. This is the new actual sight glass, the backing on it that you look at the level on. There's another gasket that goes on the front. These are cork gaskets that he cut out with his laser. And all right, there's the glass cover. Now I'm going to take this little plastic piece and polish it out and just kind of restore it a little bit. I was able to do this previously just using some really fine abrasive and just kind of polish that plastic out. It's really rough on the outside, but let me see if I can get that cleaned up, and we'll drop that back in there where you can hopefully see through that. So this is a little plastic sight glass, and it's really rough on the outside. I've just got a little lapping plate here, and I've got some sandpaper. This is some 180 grit. I'm going to start with this and just kind of sand that and get all that roughness off of it, because it is really beat up. I just want to get it smooth, and then we're going to go through some grits here and polish that out. Still got a few scratches in there. All right, we got that kind of smoothed up. I'm going to go get some finer sandpaper, and we'll just kind of polish it out. All right, this is some 280 grit. So the first one was 180. This is 280. And we've got the most of it kind of sanded out. I just want to kind of get the scratches out from the previous little bit there. So let me polish that a little bit. So from there, let's see where we go to next. So that's 280. Got some 320 here. All we're really kind of doing now is just taking out the scratches from the previous ones. I'm not really trying to remove a lot of material now. I'm polishing more than anything else right now. And as we get finer and finer, we should get to where that is just clear again. Up next, we got some 400 grit, so just a little bit finer than that 380. Now I'm going up to 600. As I'm doing this, I'm just kind of rotating that in my hand just a little bit, so I'm not biasing one pressure on it. I'm trying to kind of keep it evened out. And that's some 1500 grit. Super, super fine stuff here. All right. Now I'm going to go put this on a buffing wheel and kind of polish it out some more over there, and hopefully have it nice and clean. I think we pretty well got it sanded though. So I've got that cleaned up pretty darn good. You can see through it pretty well. So I'm going to put that back in its little metal holder, and I took that over to my wire wheel and cleaned up that as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and kind of get this pre-assembled with the screws coming through it. Those screws are a little tight around that gasket, so I'll just go ahead and kind of screw those in. Put our little disc on here. And you can see everything through that. And drop that in place. And we'll just tighten them all down. And one new sight glass installed. And that, of course, just shows the oil level. In the bottom of this, we put whey oil in this, and there's a pump in here that will pump it up into the ways of the compound. Now, the filler hole is right here. And I'm going to get that put back in. Let's see if we can put a clamp on this and pull it up there. Yeah, because it was wanting to push out the other side. That way I'm kind of got it trapped in between there. All right, now I need to get my hole lined up. And I got my pin lined up now, so I think I'll just leave that in there and we'll drive the pin in from the top side, and that'll just push the other piece right out as it goes in. There we go. And that is for the cross feed engaging. Yeah, there's just a little clutch mechanism in there. All right, we got one more to put in down here. There he goes. Just had to get it lined up just right. All right, one more pin in here. All right, our handles are reinstalled, and that is for the saddle moving in and out, the clutch for that one. All right, I'm trying to remember what fits on that handle. I'll figure it out, but I think we pretty well got that back together like we want. Right here, there's a little plunger handle that basically you pull in and out. This is for reversing the direction of the feeds, and there's a pin that goes through. I should be able to just push that out, and now on this side my pin is up, and there is a place in there for a pin to go through it. And I got this mounted in here where it goes, and there is a pin that fits down in there, and it's a tight fit. See if I can kind of get it started. Now, that's it. I'm going to take a little file or something and just hit the top and bottom of that pin to make sure that it's going to clear, but I think that's going to work. All right, a little bit of filing for clearance, and that pulls in and out just like it should. Good job. All right. So I think all that's left is to get the handle put on here, and I'm going to probably wait and do that after I get it onto the carriage. I also want to do some painting on this, but I think we're good on the apron. Well, guys, I think that's going to pretty much be a wrap for this episode. We've got some of the little tedious jobs done. I did get a coat of paint on the parts we primed. I decided I wasn't going to go back and worry about doing any more body finish on it. They look fine. They're not perfect, but the lathe's not perfect either, so it's good enough. And the saddle or the apron is ready to go back on. I think that while I've got the saddle off, I wasn't going to go through and try to rebuild it, but man, I've got it apart. I might as well just go ahead and at least inspect things and see what needs to happen. And if need be, we may go ahead and do some rebuilding of the saddle and the cross slide and all that. I just need to check it out. I'm going to inspect it while we got it apart. Might as well. And if need be, we'll do some work to it, tweak it up. If not, put it back together like it is. We'll just have to get over there and look and see how worn it is and what needs to be done. So that's probably be the next step on the 10EE project. But for today, that is a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up, comments, greatly appreciate them. They help out a lot with the algorithms on YouTube. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon, PayPal, as well as YouTube memberships. All those you can use to give a little bit of extra to help support the channel, and it really does make a difference. I really appreciate you guys to do that. And guys, with that, we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you on the next video. As always, thanks for watching.